Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
On January 29th, Elmo, our favorite red fuzzy puppet from Sesame Street, posted this. Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing? The portals of emotion broke open, with humans sharing how they're doing with a friend. There were some joyous, upbeat responses. All good here, Elmo. Happy and in love. Things are looking up in the new year. Thanks for checking, Elmo. And there was a lot of pain, Response after response about financial challenges, health problems, anxiety and fear about anything you can imagine or have encountered yourself, depression and despair about work and relationships, concern for the health of our planet. Elmo's friends did not hold back in sharing their emotional health issues. Our past Shine the Light chairs, Amy Roseman and Fran Tubin, have been asking Elmo's question and listening to the answers, especially with our teens, here at Temple for many years. And our new Shine the Light chairs, Nancy Shanks and Lisa Solomon, know the emotions of depression and addiction and suicide and are brave enough to share their stories and their leadership with us. Our Director of Member Support, Meredith Prizant, MSW, and her Advisory Board of Mental Health Professionals work to anticipate the mental well-being needs of our diverse community. None were surprised by the online responses to Elmo's post. And I imagine, like me, were also impressed by Elmo's response. On January 30th, Elmo posted again, the very next day. Wow, Elmo is glad he asked. Elmo learned it is important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you. Hashtag emotional well-being. And it says 80.5 million views. I assume that's what the M means. It's a lot. There's a lot of views. It was only February, but Mental Health Awareness Month, traditionally observed in May for 75 years, had already begun. The genius of Sesame Street and its population of puppets is that it's an accessible example of the kinds of healthy neighborhoods and, by extension, holy congregations that we should aspire to be. Asking questions, listening, caring. So let's try it this way. Temple Emanu-El is just checking in. How is everyone doing? I'm not going to ask you to share. There's no word cloud to enter into it. No hands need to be raised. But I'm going to ask you to think about it. When was the last time you asked someone, how are you doing? And really listened to the answer? When was the last time someone asked you, how are you doing? And you shared the fullness of your emotions? Just as there was in January, there is joy tonight. Some may answer the question that Elmo asked, or Temple asks. I'm grateful for the beauty of Shabbat, or our family is so happy we're celebrating a bat mitzvah. I'm excited about graduation. I'm proud, but also a little nervous about my child, my grandchild, going off to college. And this Shabbat, as we have since October 7th, many of us also feel a wide range of seemingly ever-shifting emotions, layered onto the ongoing and ever-emerging emotional issues of our personal lives. Maybe you respond to the question, I'm confused that my friend or my child or my grandchild is at a rally supporting Palestinians. I'm scared my middle school child will be bullied for being Jewish. I'm angry about the exponential rise of anti-Semitism in my workplace. I'm so sad to lose so many online friends over polarizing politics. The Israeli singer, songwriter, and peace activist Noah will be with us for a concert next Sunday in celebration of Yom HaAtzmaut. As Hallie already mentioned, it's an emotionally complicated day for us, but you do not want to miss the concert. Listen to how Noah talks about her own mental well-being over these past 7 months. The events of October 7 have been devastating for all of us. You'd have to not be part of the human race to be unaffected by what happened. I went through myriad emotional states of being since this horrible occurrence befell our country. The first emotion was a sense of betrayal in almost every category imaginable. Deep sadness, anger, rage, misery, mourning, and grieving. I went everywhere I could to sing, to be with my suffering people. Each was a moment of grace for me. I felt enormous gratitude that I was able to help the healing process. Noah has used her stage to check in. Elmo used his social media. And we are using our resources and our values to make manifest our historic commitment to being a place of sacred encounter, in the building and online, in every public gathering, every small group, every private conversation. We are continuing our efforts to be a community that asks the question and listens for the answers, where people can feel safe to share their stories, supporting each other without judgment, with compassion, and trusted resources. Thanks to the Blue Dove Foundation, we have materials, and you'll find them on the tables outside in the Teacher Gathering space after services. They're grounded in Jewish values to help us cultivate spiritual and emotional well-being all year long. They're available for all ages and on a wide array of topics. And of course, we have each other. Our one-team staff, our clergy, our Shine the Light volunteers, each and every member of this congregation can be there for another to check in, to listen, and to help. One of the many Blue Dove Jewish mental health values is Lifnei Iver, before the blind, which finds its origin in this week's Torah portion, Kedoshim. Lo tikalel cheresh v'lifnei iver lo titein michshol. You shall not insult the deaf or place a stumbling block before the blind. The rabbis of the Talmud expand the application of the mitzvah beyond making sure a person with poor vision does not trip or fall, which doesn't mean that that's not important too. In one example, Abaye teaches, if you live in a town with unmarked graves, you must identify them so that a Kohen, a person not allowed to enter the cemetery, will not inadvertently enter a prohibited space. Even if you are new to the community and had nothing to do with the establishment of the cemetery or the custom of not marking the graves, you are responsible. Dr. Debra Lipstadt interprets this text to mean you live in a community and are therefore by extension responsible for what goes on inside it. In a holy community, there are no bystanders when it comes to illicit or potentially dangerous situations. In a holy community, there are no bystanders in dangerous situations. This is why at Temple Emanu-El, we extend this Torah teaching, this Talmud teaching, to today's mental health crises. The statistics, you probably don't need me to tell you them, make real the Torah's sacred call to protect each other. Over 1 million American Jews are living with mental illness. 800,000 American Jews have an alcohol, substance, or opioid abuse disorder. 1/4 of American gambling addicts are Jewish. And sadly, so sadly, over 2,500 Jews die each year from suicide or opioid overdose. Temple Emanu-El is just checking in. How's everyone doing? We have to check in with each other by phone, by text, in person, on social media, by good old-fashioned mail. We have to check in with the people we see in public, and especially with those who are isolated, for whatever reason that might be, and at all stages of life. It's the work of each member of this holy community. In our spiritual home, we help keep each other from dangerous situations. Obviously, it's not as simple as Elmo makes it seem, but it's a way to get the conversation started. And just as the question matters, equally important is a careful and careful response. Again, the verse from this week's Torah portion is instructive. Rashi, writing in 11th century France, interprets the phrase, "You shall not place a stumbling block before the blind," as one must not lead a friend astray by giving advice not suitable for that person. He means there isn't one answer. Just like at the Seder a few weeks ago when we tailored the response, the question, to the needs of all 4 different children, so too when it comes to mental health conversations. This is not the time for empty promises or casual dismissals or shaming reprimands. Following Rashi's wise counsel, we need to listen carefully and quietly. Give each person the space needed to share feelings. Withhold judgment. Remember, it's not a competition. Choose words carefully to empower and encourage our friends to continue to talk about their emotions and to share the right resources for help and support. Perhaps these words will speak to all of us, as Elmo's words did in January, as Noah's words may do next week. We can and must do this sacred work together. Check in, shine the light, not once a year, but every day. Let's continue together. May the one who blessed our ancestors and named us Israel bless and heal those among us who struggle with mental well-being. May they acknowledge their own strength and resilience, treat themselves with forgiveness and patience, and find help, compassion, and resources when they need them. And may the Holy One grant those of us who aren't experiencing mental health issues the strength, resilience, and capacity to listen without judgment and with intention, and the ability to notice when others are struggling. May we create communities that accept, uplift, and support those among us who are struggling, now, speedily, and in a time soon to come. Amen. Amen.